There, and I'd love to entertain a motion to approve our agenda for today. So moved.
The second.
Thank you. Any comments or changes? All those in favor of passing our agenda for today, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Great, agenda is moving forward. Next we'll come to public comment. Any public in the room? I do not see any public in the room. And we'll move on to our minutes. We have a couple of minutes to approve today, both from July 9th and our special meeting on July 15th. So I'll entertain a motion for those.
I move that we approve the minutes for the regular board meeting for July 9th.
Second.
Any changes or corrections to the minutes? Great. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining?
And then I also move that we approve the minutes for the special meeting of July 15th.
Second.
Thank you. Any corrections or edits to that? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstaining? Great. The minutes are approved for both of our meetings in July. Next up, we have a presentation. But first, do we want to talk about real point and the amendment to our agreement that we passed a while ago?
A while ago. In May. Thank you,
Thank
Todd.
you.
So, yeah, I have Todd Fenton, and Robert. Real Point with Robert is my weekly meetings now. I have been working with them. We are currently under contract with them for helping us plan our next phase of renovations. We're looking at the master plan, looking at the designs, the needs, the wants, all of that. And we are contracted with them, and that's going to take about to the end of the year. We think we'll have that final.
How much is the contract for?
$25,000. Then we had talked previously when they came and presented to us about hiring them for owner representation. And we had not identified at that time if we were going to move forward with that. After having some further conversations and going through some of the insurance and contracts and things that I've been working on, I talked with them and they wanted to bring this up again, and we wanted to talk about it and see if this is something we can go forward with now. The amendment would start immediately for owner representative services and go through the next plan, the next phase of our renovations as owner representatives. And please correct me if I'm wrong.
It's the millage proposal is approved.
Yes, if the bond and millage is approved, then we would go forward with the phase 2 that is scheduled right now at approximately 25 million. But again, that's going to be based on what we're working on right now. And everyone has received a copy of the contract or the amendment. So I wanted to, I'm not going to read it all, but I wanted to see if you had any questions. They're here to help answer any questions that I can't answer, but also wanted to bring up the 25,000 that we are currently under contract for. Once we sign this, then that 25,000 would be credited under the next phase. It would be credited back to us for services rendered. And then if the bond goes through and we are ready to move forward, it would be credited back. I don't want to say they're automatically going to do it. It's all dependent on that bond and millage going forward. If that does not pass, the 25,000 would still be owed. And the proposal is for phase 2, the agreement you have, and the compensation is listed. It is a fixed fee as a percentage of the bond value. It's 2.5% of the bond, total bond, that if we get it. So if it's 25 million, it's 200,000, right? Y'all can correct me if I'm wrong. Is that right?
So we're currently looking at phase one,
Right,
which is what you're working with right now. That was not actually something that was originally contemplated when we were talking. It would help us with phase two.
right.
In our discussion, was this, we came up to see if we're going to phase that change, I think, and hope that this is just clearly we're coming in as an extension of Ms. Matthews to, essentially run this program. We're not making decisions,
Mhm.
we're providing counsel and putting Ms. Matthews in the best possible position to make recommendations to the board for approval for whatnot. So we're looking at 2.5% for phase one, an $8 million budget, which is $200,000. I don't know what phase two is,
Mhm.
but 2.5 is our regular fee for taking on that. And that's not just the Todd and Robert show. We're coming in, we're bringing in a lot of people at Real Point. We're going to bring in an entire accounting team to run the numbers of that part so that we're verifying pay applications. We're sending them to Sasha, once we vetted and verified them to process that. And then we've actually got the people on the construction side that is moving through each step of the process to make sure the architect is performing according to their contract and schedule, construction manager, any other items that need to be procured. Got other people that'll be working and putting RFPs together, and if you're doing public bids or invitation-only bids, all of that is what we're bringing to the team and taking it hopefully off of Sasha's plate, where we're just at high level, continuing to keep her involved in the process and making sure that she understands, what the 30, 60, 90 year-long timeline looks like. That's it. 2 phases. The first phase is currently in process.
Mhm.
I think we identified a lot of different ways we can bring value to that process, and that's where Sasha said, I think we need to entertain this conversation sooner rather than later before this project leaves the station and there's no return for a lot of these items. Phase two, we're obviously going to continue to program what that looks like, put you in the best possible position to make that ask for the community, and then if that goes forward, we would oversee that as well. If it doesn't, we're not being compensated for phase two.
So the 2.5% is phase two,
If you do the math on phase one, it's 2.5%.
but this says,
Fee is 200, so that's 2.5%. Phase two, we don't have an identified budget yet, so we can't peg what the value is, but we're again representing that 2.5%.
but that's what it's saying here. In the compensation, phase two, owner's rep service, fixed fee as a percentage of the bond value.
Yes.
FCL shall pay PMR a fee equal to 2.5%.
When I said it's 2.5% of X, we don't know yet. What 25 million has been a
Right.
number that's been discussed, but we don't know for certain. That's part of what we're doing right now. Is getting a handle on what we think that budget is. And just as with phase one, we've already identified a lot of items that you're probably gonna get change ordered into, and the $6.3 million budget that we had originally discussed is really closer to 8 when you factor those in. And I know Robert has had those conversations with Ms. Matthews, which spurred this conversation of, I don't know if I'm getting a change order, whether this is right or not.
Hmm.
How about people who do this, day in and day out for a living? How do I bring them onto the team and I can focus on what I'm doing as a library director and let them handle that part? So it's 2.5%. Once we know what the budget is for phase one, we don't yet know what budget is for phase two, but you're correct, 2.5%, whatever that budget is.
Okay, and I'd like to ask about reimbursable expenses, 7,500. Why is that not included in the 200,000 that we're paying here?
We typically allocate our base fee based on the different staff that we're bringing into here, and then we do a calculation roughly of how many times, we expect Robert or our team coming in here. That's standard. I mean, our original agreement has reimbursables on top of the $25,000 that is our base fee as well. So it's really an add-on. If we calculated it a different way in order to maintain our fee, it would be then $275 versus $200.
And the 25,000 we get back if we pass the bond.
Correct.
My question is, the amount of phase two is really not determined.
Mhm.
And you based your 2.5% of the debt, that would be, 20 million, fine.
We know that the number that has been discussed has been $25 million. We
So,
don't know though if that is, and
Right.
that's what we're doing right now is trying to get a handle on what that is.
so,
And we've had some conversations with Ms. Matthews as well. And Carrie Shea, who's advising you on the audit side of, you know, you may want to bond for more than that to reimburse you for what you're doing in phase one, so that you're not completely depleting part of your general fund. Like, there's a lot of different ways of doing that. We'll advise on that.
I understand
We're
that.
not there yet.
My point is, if you include more money to reimburse ourselves in a bond, whatever,
Mhm.
but, do you think that 2.5% is the fair number to use for? Because we increased the bond $5 million or $8 million to reimburse some of the things we had, or shouldn't there be more of a structured schedule that, okay, your first 15 million on the BIP, there's the bond is 2.5, but the next 10 million, that is only 2%, because the amount of work you're doing is the same if the bond's 25 million or 30 million. That just, and the value may increase as the first phase one did, but we're always paying you the same amount for the same amount of work, whatever the number may be. Is there a possibility to structure that number differently?
We capitalize it over a 3-year program, so that's why that number is what it is. There's be times where we are actually losing money in the amount of work that we're doing if we're, you know, dividing it through, you know, like equal payments over 36 months. We'll be putting more work for certain parts of the program than we are when we're closing out, for example. So our, you know, reimbursement model, you know, we're providing you consistency. For us, we are taking some sort of risks at certain parts of the program. So we've never really structured the capital program that way before because of those reasons.
But, you're doing the same amount of work and the same work, whether it's 25 million or it's 30 million.
No, we have more people involved, I think 30 million, 25 million.
You do.
Have you worked with libraries in this capacity before?
Yes,
And what was the fee rate that you charged for that
2.5% is our standard fee.
across all jobs that you do?
We have had fees of 2% on projects that are $400-500 million.
Jim, did you have a question?
Can you give an example of phase one, like what's something that we're looking at now that's gonna push our, you know, change over the month, what you just talked about?
Yeah, so I've been, you know, doing some, you know, I guess, investigation of the first program, phase one. And there are some things that still need to be done. For instance, commissioning, getting on board a commissioning agent to look at the design and then make sure that design is implemented and is operating according to the design parameters. That's your mechanical systems, electrical systems throughout the building, depending on what the program is. There's also material testing. There's concrete pours and things like that, that usually you carry that that consultant outside of the contract of the construction manager or the architect. We want independence. So we would have to onboard a material testing agent for the project as well.
I thought we already did that. I paid for.
Not for this level, that we did environmental testing and we did a different test, I
what
think.
was soil?
Right, this is concrete. Once they pour the concrete to ensure that it's
Hmm.
done at, like, make sure it's all up to how it should be, not
So
just,
you have sidewalks, you have some foundation underpinning, which requires concrete. There might be some miscellaneous steel, so they would check the steel connections and whatnot. So there are some things that aren't part of the contract for the architect or the construction manager that would be in your court. And what we would do is solicit those consultants with an RFP and get the best possible price for you based on a work scope. So that would be part of the additional items that would be necessary for phase one.
If we had not hired you guys, when would we have ever realized this? Like, because it's not in the contract or the architect or the construction manager. So when would we have
You
realized?
might have come to a point in the construction where the question would be asked and you
Yeah.
would say, oh, we don't have that.
Right.
And it would delay the project.
Okay.
So is this what's making our costs go up? I mean, we thought we had 6 million aside to do all this, and now you're saying 8 million.
Yes, and there's also owner contingency that you should always carry with a project of this magnitude.
Which we do have that.
Right.
Okay, so that's set aside, usually it's about 10% of the overall cost project. So there are different things, hanging within the budget. They're called soft costs that should be added on to the hard construction value that, for the GMP.
Mhm.
So what we do is we help you through that process. We account for it with our team of accountants to make sure that, what is the work that's put in place is what's was designed and what's part of the contractual obligation. And the architect will sign off a pay app. But after that process occurs, it goes to us for review to make sure that it's in alignment. And there's, I guess, several other accounting, procedures that we do that kind of help the project along. But the biggest thing that we try to do is minimize your risk on the project. And being in this business for several years, I have an architecture background. I also worked for a large construction management company for 15 years. So I understand projects from an architect's viewpoint and also a constructor's viewpoint. And there's a lot of things that I've learned over my years of experience of doing these type of projects that I can lend to you and help you avoid risk on the project and not get into a situation where you're having budget overruns or a bust in the schedule. So we kind of look, around the corner, if you will, to make sure that things are taken care of and you don't run into difficulties of the project.
Thanks.
This is just big picture kind of stuff, but how would you characterize our phase one right now? Like in terms of this, is this it's a lot bigger project than it started to be originally. But what I'm asking is, like, how would you guys, I know budget wise, it's pretty teeny tiny compared to stuff you've worked on, but like difficulty wise or anything like that, how would you characterize?
Well, like your downtown branch, I think there's some challenges there with the excavations. What I would have done is gotten a topography study done. Right now, you don't have one. It's just a survey,
Yeah.
but there's no topo lines. I'm concerned about the drainage that you have in the north corner. You're excavating out a section of land, if you will, where you have a problem with water. So I think that needs a lot of attention to detail. I think also I would approach, doing the roof first because you want the building watertight before you do any renovations below the roof line. I saw the Royal Roofing report and most of those roofs are rated D, or poor. So that means to me that, you've got maybe 1 or 2 years of life left on that roof and it really should be taken care of and it should be a priority. Not to say that you couldn't do it that roof now, just bid it out. I would go design prime on that, which means you don't necessarily have to go through the construction manager and get markup on it. You're getting maybe a 10%, 12% markup. If you go through the construction manager, we could bid this competitively and avoid that markup on the roofing project. So those are some of the strategies that we implement to help you with your budget and make sure that you're within the confines of the dollars that you have.
How would that work if we're making an addition and then doing a roof, but we're putting a whole addition on it?
I think the addition would be separate because the addition would be a flat roof. I know that there's a lot of sloped roofs on that structure, but I think we could address the roofs that there's probably, 4 or 5 different roofs on that structure right now. But I feel that it's critical to make sure that those roofs are watertight going forward. And I don't think that the addition on the east side or the west side would really impact a roof that we would put on today, as opposed to a year or two from now.
And we're talking about the building addition, not the little corner things.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay.
You've listed a couple of areas of cost savings. Can you expand on that in any way?
Well, contract wise, your construction manager is double bonding, so typically with a construction manager at risk, they carry a bond for the project. What happened is that every subcontractor has a bond with their bid. So in reality, you're double bonding your subs. So you could save maybe, up to $60,000 by eliminating the double bonding. So, we can work with you on that. I know that McCarthy, they like to double bond because they avoid risk, right? But there's certain reputable trades that don't necessarily need to have a bond. Usually you bond like a landscape consultant or a landscape company or a painter that you haven't done business with in the past. Maybe they don't have a long track record in the community, or they're a new company. So there's a certain amount of risk involved. So I can see like bonding those type of those companies. But when it comes to maybe a mechanical and electrical engineering contractor that's been doing work in the community for a long time, they're very well established, they have good credit rating, maybe you don't need to bond that particular entity.
And in that instance, do you talk directly to McCarthy? Or does that go through Sasha and? the
We
library?
would be at the table with Sasha to discuss that.
To articulate it better than I could. Because they have that experience. And we have not signed the contract yet, by the way.
You haven't, or good?
We have not signed the McCarthy and.
Yeah, another
Smith
thing is,
and
typically
contract.
with these contracts, you're doing a CM at risk contract, and it's an A-133, and there's a binding contract, it's like general requirements, it's an A-201.
Mhm.
And that's the bridging document between the owner, the constructor, and the architect, but the architect doesn't have an A-201 because they have their own proposal, their own contract that they put together.
Mhm.
So that's concerning because you want to make sure that you define the roles and responsibilities for the parties involved with the contractual obligation. So we can maybe right the ship on that, I don't know, but it's that contract has already been signed. Another thing that we do with those contracts with the architect is we always establish a design to budget. So let's say the bids come in at a higher amount, a significantly higher amount. We require the architect to go back and design to budget to meet that expectation.
And there.
Which we didn't
Right.
If we didn't do.
do.
And we've been so.
But
See
those
now-
are items we would absolutely, starting from scratch on phase two, the action program, and take account of all of those risk factors from the very outside.
Any other questions?
It says the term is 12 months for phase one. So, when does it start and when does it end?
We're anticipating approved today, start tomorrow. And then a year from then, we'll have a better handle on schedule. We're not going to, if the schedule, our construction schedule ends up being 14 months, it's not that we'll be 8 more or that. We're still going through and reviewing. We're not on board to do that yet. Phase one, there's a lot, as Robert has kind of alluded to, that we look to try to unwind some of it with the goal of getting savings into the project that you can put some of that one back into the building.
So we've been told that the expectation is we'll start in September and end in June.
Mhm.
So that's a little less than 12 months.
There's also a project closeout with the GMP that always, and there's commissioning. So the
Right.
commissioning typically is a longer period of time after the substantial completion.
Should it not say 12 months and should it say a little bit longer time?
Well, the construction itself, like we're in the middle of it now, so if they started now, they would go till this time next year, and our construction is supposed to end in June, so they would be contracted through August, at least to close it out, and then hopefully roll right into the bond. So 12 months would start, yeah, now.
Christie, you had a question?
I don't know if,
I don't have a question. I just want to reiterate, like what I've said before. For me, how important this is. In this whole process, I only raised 2 questions. I said, I didn't think we knew enough about water. Because, I know I don't know enough about water, and I did stormwater engineering. And I already know I don't know enough about water. And the second that I kept saying is I didn't understand the relationship between McCarthy and the architect, and it was just kind of, they just have a relationship. I'm not blaming anyone here, it's just reiterates that I am not a competent board member to help our director supervise this. I don't have the competencies. This is one of the biggest responsibilities we have, is the fiduciary responsibility to the taxpayer. So, to me, I cannot tell you just like the relief I am feeling right now, like even my voice is quivering, because this has just scared me. It's just really frightened me as a board member. So that's my contribution to this conversation.
Well, I must say that I have always been worried about the water. I mean, because I know that whole bottom floor there is flooded so many times. And the architect says, oh, well, we've got it taken care of, don't worry about it. I'm thinking, yeah.
And I said, architects don't do that.
Yeah, exactly.
So we were right to be worried.
Yeah.
We were all right to be worried. And now we have somebody who can help us going forward, maybe even a little bit looking backwards. I don't know, but, I just feel a tremendous relief if we move forward with this. I don't know how to supervise construction going into what is almost the wetland. It's like just this side of the wetland. So, cause I looked it up on the wetland map. So, yeah, so I just want to speak very strongly in favor of the board moving forward.
So have you worked at all with the construction manager or not yet?
they haven't done anything with McCarthy and Smith because they're not
Okay.
contracted to at this point.
Okay.
They're contracted right now is Robert and myself and Peter and Jill. We are meeting weekly to get phase 2, like, evaluated well and identified and engineered and all that. So that's all we've been working on because they are not contracted for phase 1. They have been nice and reviewed few things for me, and like they've given me a few things here and there to help me, but they really aren't contracted to do that. So it's been me, and like I've reached out to Robert and Todd, and I'm like, this insurance, I spent so much time with on insurance in the last few weeks because I don't know what insurance I'm really doing. I know what I'm doing, but I don't know what they need. And they were like, yeah, that's stuff we could have helped you with instead of me trying to figure out what I'm doing, which I'm not saying I can't do it. I'm just saying if I have help with somebody who's experienced.
That's not an answer from anybody.
Yeah.
Your competence is ours is.
Well, with that, do we have a motion?
Well, the motion, or I mean, that's.
Oh, sorry.
We're on the agenda,
Yeah.
yeah.
This was just the presentation.
This was,
Presentation. Any other questions then while we have these folks here?
I just want to ask one more is, I'm concerned because we've had several bond issues fall, fail, in the last month. And what happens is, we fail the bond issue and we decide not to try it again. What do we owe you for your time and effort?
For phase 2.
mhm.
We're right now working the program phase 2, that's the original engagement.
Right,
we're
right.
Contractual obligated to do, but no, if the bond doesn't move forward, our work doesn't move forward. There's phase 2.
Right, I'm just
Right.
speaking about phase
Mhm.
two. So, and how many times will you try for the bond issue if it fails the first time?
We've worked with cities on multiple bond issues. Frankly, it was not a very good August
No.
for both public safety, which is usually a pretty high success rate, or some schools, the Oakland County ISD. You know, if you want our assistance with, you know, marketing and the informational, can't say campaign, but the informational
Mhm.
plan for the community, we can discuss that. So we're not, like, we're obviously making, you know, an investment in FCL. We like the project. You know, we like the community. We would love to work on a successful bond campaign. I mean, ultimately, that's, you know, what everyone wants. It depends on the board. We've worked with plenty of cities that after two, they've got fatigue and that's it. Or they're looking at, can you come in and try to figure out alternative ways of trying to finance some of this? The combination of general fund and maybe we face it a little bit differently and we're not gonna get the entire project done beginning. But we do that all the time. I mean, us right now, the most difficult thing to be able to predict why we're trying to mitigate risk through schedule is inflation and tariffs continue to be driving up costs at an astronomical amount. And even having like a 2-month delay on your project may result in 5% going up, if not more. So we're very, very, very much on the front end, putting together the best plan possible so we can stick to that schedule when we have relative certainty on our models for what escalation have been. And they're based on everything that we're working on right now. So we're getting like live time data on where bids are coming in on different trades or even materials. But you know, that's where I think your question was in terms of like schedule, like part of what you're hiring us to do is make sure that we have an actual schedule so that you're not facing project delays with something that just came up that you didn't know that you needed to procure. And that's going to have a domino effect on other costs that are coming after that.
I do want to point out that almost every library bond passed. Almost, I mean, tons of them passed in this recent election. So fingers crossed for libraries. They've done really well.
The best that we can do is to do a really good job bringing phase one in. On budget, what you're saying to the public, and that will probably put you in the best position to be asking for more. Having a demonstrated track record of success begets success.
Mhm.
And an outdoor amphitheater is much more engaging than a new roof, so if we. I've seen some of the posts that our account has made and people are so excited just to even see the renderings and, you know. So I think if we can maintain that level of engagement and commitment from our community, which I think we have, will be successful, so.
Yeah, if we do move forward, we work with you, you know, but there are items that we'll be doing in terms of, you know, coming up with a governance model in terms of what our regular reportage back to this board is, what it is to Ms. Matthews. And then if you want a public facing dashboard that's showing the progress and X amount complete, and here's what's coming, we implement those on all of our projects. So we understand, especially we work with so many different municipalities where it is taxpayer dollars, that this is not a project occurring in a vacuum, that you do need to have transparency and you do need to let the public know that you're being good stewards of their dollars.
Absolutely. Thank you for saying that. That actually makes me think of even with our work with you all, I would really appreciate, I mean, it does not have to be at every board meeting, but even this conversation illuminated, right, opportunities for cost savings that we didn't know before. And if you all can just through Sasha or whatever, just keep us apprised of certainly in phase one, but hopefully in phase two as well of what you're identifying, what steps were taken and kind of the result. I think that would be helpful.
That's absolutely part of our program.
Great.
Yeah, I was just
I assumed it was, but
for the meeting on a project I just involved with, and we were looking at mechanical systems. And the engineer was proposing a 4-pipe system, which is very energy efficient, but there's a cost to that. And what we were looking at is a different system, which was rooftop units with VAVs, units that are in the ceiling. And that particular system would save the municipality $2.3 million.
Nice.
So you have to look at payback. So how long would it take to pay back with energy savings that $2.3 million? It could be decades.
Mhm.
So you have to make these thoughtful decisions for projects. Make sure that, you know, you're not spending a bunch of money needlessly, and you really have to understand the operational aspects of the project as well.
So
It takes 20 years to realize those savings, and in 20 years, that's the end of the use of that.
So I think the voting on the amendment is lower on the agenda. You guys are welcome to stay, but just to let you know.
yeah, thank you for being here.
And you know, I just want to say, I was in charge of putting a new roof on the Elks building, and I let people take selfies with the roof.
Oh, I love that. It's gonna be exciting.
Not for free.
Cute.
Well, relatedly, can we move to our renovation communication? Sarah, we got you.
The renovation guide in the packet, but if you want to take one of those.
Do you have it in the packet? No, it didn't get put in the packet.
Oh, I didn't.
Did you get one?
I got
All right, so the teams handed around is just the in-house guide that we have
Kathy.
printed and out at both of our locations now. And also when we go to any of our community engagements, like the farmer's market or our other outreach, this is also our handout that we are taking. I'm here to talk about just our overall communications plan for phase one renovations. And this mostly kicked off last Friday on August 7th, when we put out our announcement communication about the September start date. We have had previous communication put out when we launched the facilities master plan last year in the spring, as well as when we announced the renderings at the 50-year celebration of the downtown Farmington building in December. And so this past week, the purpose of our announcement communication was to introduce that tentative start date of September 8th. Also to help start setting realistic expectations about some of the changes that people are going to experience when they come to the library over the next 9 months. And then to push people to sign up for our building alerts, which is a new segment we've set up for our email newsletters, which we will utilize outside of renovations work as well. But that segment will provide any critical service impacts that would affect a patron's visit. And they can sign up for either location or both of them, whichever is relevant to them. So in terms of our announcement communication that went out, that was out on all of our digital platforms. And then we've also started to put signage out in both buildings, and we'll continue to increase signage in the poster displays that we have throughout both buildings, so that anytime someone is visiting us, we know that they can't walk out of the building without having seen this message and having been encouraged to sign up for our building alerts, or at the very least, have the message of making sure you know before you go, which is coming back to the library once our construction has started. Make sure you're checking the renovations page, and that's where you'll be kept up to date with any of our current service impacts, parking updates, construction progress, etc. As Dilhara had mentioned, we did have a lot of people that were really excited on the social post that we shared. If you didn't see it, you can go to our YouTube channel. You don't need to be signed into any account in order to see that. Sasha and Maria did a really great job of introducing the projects that are happening at both locations, and then letting people know again that there will be a little bit of a change in their experience when they come to the library over the next 9 months. If you look at our Facebook and our Instagram, that's where you can definitely see some of the excitement that community members are sharing about the projects. So our next round of communication will go out towards the end of August or right at the beginning of September. And in this communication, we expect to share the estimated project timelines and the associated major service impacts that we're aware of, so that we can prepare the public for some of those major changes that are going to be happening over the next month. So some of those include the impacts that are related to the front parking lot closure here, how that impacts curbside pickup, friends donations, etc. The meeting room being unavailable for room reservations or public usage during the months that the elevator is being replaced. the children's area being closed at this location and what our temporary children's services will be in the meantime, as well as some of the impacts that would be related to the beam replacement, which is the first portion of the indoor projects here where the bathrooms will be replaced. Once we have that updated information complete, there was just a couple of moving parts and things that we needed answers from the construction manager in order to kind of finalize that information. The renovations guide is also going to be updated, so people will have this information if they're thinking of a print guide or online as well. In terms of our ongoing digital communication, we have been working to update all of our digital platforms. So our website, our events calendar, our room reservations page, both of our catalog interfaces, our mobile app, all email newsletters going forward, even if they're not specific to the renovations, will always begin with a general know before you go blurb, reminding people to check before they visit. Patron notices will start to include general blurbs about the renovation as well. And we'll have pin posts on all of our social platforms, which will remain at the top of the feed anytime that someone would visit our platforms. We'll also start to share out progress updates once the construction actually starts. And what those will look like exactly will just depend on the type of updates. So they could be a blog post, also just updating the service impacts on our renovations page. Some of them would be relevant enough to send out as email newsletter blasts or social media posts. We will just determine the type of the update based on what it is that we're sharing. Is it going to be a photo? Will it just be copy? Will we have a video? And we'll definitely make sure that anytime we can provide visuals that would help people understand how they might have to engage differently in a service at the library, that's something that will be prioritized as an update that we would put out. So for example, as soon as fencing starts going up at the downtown branch, you know, a cute video with Maria where she gets to welcome people in and let them know, hey, just because we've got all of this fencing up doesn't mean we're not in here to welcome you into the library. You can still enter into this location, etc. So if where you are going to check out certain collections has changed, providing them some visuals or a video walkthrough of those things where we can help keep people informed, but also provide, you know, some faces behind it and make it friendly, because we do know that it's going to be a little bit less convenient to visit the library and also may not be as pleasant at times. So we want to make sure communication can kind of process. We have purchased a variety of signage. That way we can make sure both outdoors and indoors, we are set in terms of wayfinding, where to enter. The library is still open during construction. What are our current service impacts? If you have to go to a different space to engage in a service outside of where you normally would go to, how do you get there? I will be in the meetings with the construction manager as well, just so that once we have any updates on what might be coming up or what is going to change, I can leave that meeting immediately and just know exactly, okay, what kind of signage can we put together? What kind of updates do we need to start to put out? And then I will also make sure that I am working with staff just to get an understanding of what kind of questions patrons are asking at the desk. Is there anything that our communication is not answering? Is there anything that can have further clarification? And I'm working on a backup communication plan and training some of our other supervisors. That way, in case if there's any urgent communication that has to go out and for some reason I would be unavailable, we have people who are able to step in and make sure that things are handled. And that's kind of the update that I have for you all, but if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Covered a lot.
Yeah.
I just can't tell you how much I appreciate the thought you're putting into this. It's great.
Sarah, can I ask, I know you said that, you know, I love hearing that you're gonna be listening to the patrons, the questions that are coming in and being able to be responsive to that. One of my, I think in conversations with Sasha and others, I don't necessarily always go to the desk to ask a question. I'm like, oh, this person works here, let me just turn. And so what is the plan for all staff to be knowledgeable, because even if they're not working at a desk, that they're apprised of what's happening and can answer patron questions.
Yeah, so you're not talking about staff relaying information from patrons to me. You're asking about what's the
Yeah.
internal communication plan.
Yeah.
Yeah, so for internal communication, that's something that kind of the entire admin team has been working on. We do have a specific Teams channel that has been set up now. And we've ensured that all of our staff have access to that. Prior to that, some of our shelvers or our aides were not using Teams because it wasn't as relevant to their job duties. So I know that it's always Sasha and Jill's intent that anytime we would have any form of update to our public communication, or there's any changes in that communication will be going out simultaneously to staff. And so we'll make sure that there's nothing that is public information that is not available in the one-stop guide that staff should be referencing anytime that they're working at the desk, that they're on the floor, shelving books, things like that, so that they know. Because that is, we want it to be consistent. We don't want people to have a different experience when they go to our digital platform versus in person. I can't seem to get an answer to this question, or I have to go through, 5 different people, or I stop after one, because, that's what a lot of people will do, so.
Sasha, Jill, anything to add to that?
Well, we are holding monthly staff huddles now, and at each of these huddles, we've been providing regular updates about where we are at with renovation planning, so that has been very useful. In Did You Know, which is the monthly email and Teams update, we put that in there as well. Any renovation updates, and when we started the channel, the renovation channel, the internal one for staff, Sasha, before that came active, sent out an email saying, this is the intent, we're gonna set up this channel, and that we will provide weekly updates, even if there's nothing to update this week, just so staff are kind of in the loop. And then Sarah and I are also gonna work on some scripts and some guidance for not just public desk staff, but anybody on staff, whether it's a shelver and somebody asks a question, even if it's just, oh, hey, did you know we have a renovations page? This is where you can go see it. So we're working on that too.
Yeah, I think they pretty much covered it. Like you said, the staff that didn't have Teams access now has it. We're getting them training. We talk about it all the time, emails, I told them everything is going to be on Teams. And my goal, even one step ahead, is I'd like to get the staff the information a little ahead of the public, just so that we have time to get those questions asked. So Sarah and I have been working together on that to ensure that our communication has a little bit of a leeway whenever possible. It's not always possible, but whenever possible, so they have time to ask those questions that we might not have thought about. And we've already got some great questions coming in on the renovation page, on our team's page. Because I said, ask them here, because if you're asking it, somebody else might have that same question. Let's not send emails back and forth. Everything is posted there in Teams for them to see.
How's the staff and everything overall so far?
I think they're excited. I think there's some nerves.
Yeah, there's gotta be some trepidation.
I mean, especially because there are gonna be areas of the library, like the children's department here, that won't be accessible to the public for some time. And, they're gonna relocate to the Heritage Room, and I feel like everybody has been very like, okay, what can we do? How can we make this work? So everybody's been very helpful with each other and understanding. But I think there's a little nerves. So
I think a lot of them are excited and just want to get going. Like we've been talking about it since I got here, and they just want they want shovels and
that's.
they want the excavators.
Like, let's start this.
Yeah.
She's very excited. I just wanted to add to regarding the communication, Sasha also established 2 internal supervisor only channels having to do with renovations. One is a very core group, where it's a channel where if we have to make decisions or have discussions, we can do that. And then the other channel is for all supervisors, so that once the core group makes a decision, it can go to the supervisors, like, hey, here's a heads up of what we're gonna do. And then we send it out to staff. So I know Sasha's been purposely trying to structure the communication so that supervisors are in the know, and then we let staff know, and then.
I want them to be confident in their staff asking them questions. And they're like, I don't know, I just read it. No, you got it ahead of time. So they, because nobody likes the gotchas. So I want to prevent that as much as possible.
Sarah, thank you very much. I know you have a small but very mighty department that you oversee, and this is it's always wonderful, so thank you. With that, Kathy, I'll turn it over to you for the treasurer.
Okey dokey. I move the board approve the July 2026 operating bills totaling $572,979.68.
Second.
Any discussion, questions? Hearing none. All those in favor of approving the expenditures?
Aye.
Any opposed? So passed.
I move to receive and file the financial reports.
Second.
Thank you. Any questions or discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Great. Financial reports.
As of July 1st, 2026, our Michigan class balance was $14,031,359.59. I made a withdrawal of $400,000 on July 28th, which I transferred into the Comerica checking account for bill payment. Our July 31st ending balance was $13,675,988.98. Our earned interest, excuse me, was $44,629.39 in July. And our year-to-date interest was $314,564.86. On July 1st, our daily interest rate was 3.7711%. And on July 31st, it was 3.7754%. Went up a little. In July, we received $147,805.68 from Oakland County for penal fines and $52,653.80 from the state of Michigan for state aid. We received $353,179.30 from the city of Farmington Hills for summer tax disbursement. And the Farmington figures will appear in next month's report. I've decided to keep all of this money in the Comerica checking account for bill payment instead of transferring that to Michigan Class.
And coffee. I thought your sentence ended at.
I love that pause. You're waiting for the next sentence. I love the pause. I've decided to keep all.
Thanks, Kathy. Not seeing our friends of the library here today. I don't know if we have any communication or updates from them. Well, with that, Sasha, director's report.
I wanted to remind everyone that our next food truck event is August 18th from 5 to 7 with Egg Roll Diva. And then we'll have one more as a makeup day from our earlier event in September. September 1st. So August 18th is the next one. Renovations, we've had lots of renovation meetings, like Jill alluded to. We're having logistical meetings at both locations. We had a meeting today with McCarthy and Smith because we had submitted some questions about placement of things and how much we need to move in advance of them starting, because some of the work we're doing, moving of some of the shelving is something that we are contracting with Library Design. Is that the name of the company, Jill?
Yeah.
Library Design, yeah. So we're reaching out to them. And that's something I think that I want to talk with the board about. We can email, but I'd like to know if you want updates here, wait till I meet with facilities first, then you got like as we talked and if we have other, like if Real Point comes on board, but as we learn things, I don't know how much you guys want to be informed along the way, or if we're waiting to the meeting once a month. Like I think that's something as we get going through this, I want you guys to be knowledgeable about the situation, not overwhelming, but how much you guys want to know as we go through. For example, today we met with McCarthy and Smith, and we're working through permitting. Farmington, our permits are already through the planning division, and we're just waiting for the building division to approve the Farmington permits. And for Farmington Hills, they are still with planning. They had some questions that Steve had to get back to them on. He actually had a meeting today. So they're still in the planning division with Farmington Hills, working through permitting. So things like that as they come up, I need to know, and we can talk about it afterwards, but like, how much do you want to know as I go through this, as we go through this process?
Well, I would say, Sasha, and others can chime in here. I think at a minimum, we would like, it should be in the director's report. And then I would say the rest is up to your discretion of if it rises to a certain threshold of the board needs to know because this is a significant thing. Or if it's right timeliness, or if folks in the community are gonna be asking us sooner than a board meeting, then I would say, yeah, keep us apprised of it over email. I don't know if others have different ideas there.
I agree, because being current and with the information is helpful, then you're not quite so, well, what's going on now? Just a nice email on the library email to everyone saying, here's a quick update. I think even once a week isn't too much. Then you feel more in the loop and you have a little bit more understanding what's going on. And confidence.
And I hope we're all gonna be signed up for these,
Yes, please sign up for the building alerts.
so we can. We'll get this.
Okay. Summer reading program finale. I'm not sure how many of you if joined us on July 27th. But it was a great event here, and I don't have final numbers just yet, but as of July 25th, we had over 3,900 participants in our summer program and logged over 47,000 hours of reading. So it's a great year for that.
Is that higher than last year?
Our final number was a little bit lower than last year. However, we did have a little bit of a change in our prize structure. So last year we offered a prize going up to 30 hours. And then we also had 2 book prizes, and the second book prize was at 10 hours. This year we went down to 1 book prize and it was at 5 hours. So I think between those 2 things, that's kind of how it shook out. In terms of our participants, we had roughly the equivalent number.
Okay, so we're holding steady. And an upcoming event, we're have the Farmington Friends have sponsored author T.J. Clune is going to be here for author talk and book signing. It is being held here in the auditorium on October 18th from 6:30 to 8:30. That is when our parking lot is going to be, the front parking lot will be closed. So we are working along the whole way, but we are working specifically to have overflow parking in the back parking lot where the other office building is. We're working with them for this whole process, but specifically that night, because we anticipate a large, he's a large crowd. He's mainly a teen and a young adult and like children's author, great author. If you haven't read any of his books, I highly recommend it. And if you can join us.
I saw him at Interlochen this past winter, and it was an incredible turnout for an author event.
Yeah.
It was full. People were standing.
Yeah, oh yeah, he's popular. He's popular.
Yeah, he's pretty funny.
So that is all I have. I will admit my report is a little short right now because I'm renovation focused and
Items is
yeah.
bulkier. than
Yes,
others, so
quite
yeah.
bulky. So that's taken up a lot of time.
Anything for Sasha before we do subcommittees?
Just a quick question. I was reading over some of the public comments that were made, and is there a process that you guys respond to people or address some of those concerns?
If they have asked for a response, we do. Some don't want a response. We have, and I'm glad you mentioned that because I didn't mention it. We had one a comment about like the weeds and the grounds around the building. Peter talked to that customer directly and talked with him. We have rehired a company we used to use for weed removal and upkeep. What's the name of the company?
Lush Lawn.
Lush Lawn is now back on the payroll for weed removal and upkeep of things like that. So if they want response, we do, and Jill and I talk about who's gonna respond. I think for some, like the facilities, I wanted Peter to respond to that, and if it's something her or I, or Maria, you know, or somebody more appropriate to respond to, but if they don't, then, you know, we don't. Sometimes we do, you know, depending on what they want.
Sometimes we don't include their contact. If
Yeah.
something that we can't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have to put the contact information in there for us to respond. But we do.
That's right. If I can move to subcommittee updates for personnel committee, got a few things. I think last time or time before that, I shared that we have been working with WCBC because they sent us a request about tuition reimbursement as a benefit for staff, and you all may recall looking at. No, we haven't brought it here yet. The personnel committee drafted the policy accompanying form. We were able to send it back to WCBC, and Renee and Kathy attended that meeting to gather their feedback, which was overall positive. They were happy with what we had drafted, and so Sasha is putting kind of the finishing touches on that, and so we'll bring that to a board meeting for approval soon. It would go into effect with the next budget, so we have a little bit of time, so there's no rush, but just so you know, that is done. And I do want to say Jill Wyskowski was the lead of WCBC, and now it'll be taken up by Wes Schumacher, so just want to acknowledge her efforts in leading that group, and then welcome Wes into that position, he's been a member of it, and so he'll be starting in November. We talked about the 2027 closure calendar, which we have later on in our agenda to vote on, and so we made some decisions on that of not closing for Mother's Day and Father's Day, but some other suggested changes that were brought by WCBC, is that right, Sasha? We did agree with, and so that's the draft that you would see in front of you for voting later. We're currently looking at vision and dental benefits. Kind of revisiting that, spurred by a previous conversation that we've had. Right now, we reimburse staff for out-of-pocket expenses up to a certain amount. And so now that we're in the pool with the life insurance, we'll look at what options that offers us and see the cost benefit there, if it makes sense to offer vision and dental. That is something that we've actually heard recently from WCBC as well, that staff have brought to them. And so we're excited to look into that and see if we can make a decision there. And then lastly, we visited a conversation that Trustee Snodgrass brought to me, I think a couple of months ago, about board reappointment and kind of when our terms end, who should kind of pay attention to that date, work with the cities to get that communication and reappointment. And so the process that we've put out, and I'm happy to share this via email so everyone gets it, is that Crystal Peterson will monitor our term ending date, and 3 months prior to that end, will communicate with us, hey, your term is coming to an end, please get in touch with the city to say if you're interested or not, so they can have things moving along. And she'll ask to be CC'd on that email, so then Crystal can kind of follow up as needed and do what needs to happen. And so that way, hopefully we have some timely communication from our cities. I know it's been
The city of Farmington is often slow.
yeah, it's sometimes slow, and sometimes they've been
Ahead of the game.
yeah, way ahead.
Sometimes, not Farmington always, but
It is,
yeah.
all to say, it's
Signals goes a
been,
little faster.
yeah, it's just inconsistent, and so we'd like to kind of keep it smooth running here. So yeah, we had a lot of conversation about things that are coming up. Otherwise, I don't know, Renee, Kathy, anything else you wanna?
No,
You
you got it.
Thank you. That's all for personnel. With that, Sharon, I'll turn it to you for facilities.
Well, facilities committee, first of all, we had Sarah make the presentation similar to tonight, which is very well done and very specific. And we also included some discussions about landscaping as usual. It's always a kind of an internal battle, especially since we'll have additional landscaping with the new projects that we have. So we need to get that area on target, being landscaped and weeded in all the new areas so that we don't have writing people letters saying, you know, it's not adequate, it doesn't look good. So that seems to be an item always on the agenda. Agenda also was in the fiction area, the lights in the ceiling are still out, and Peter explained they're gonna do them when there's a certain break that he can put them all up. But it is very dark over there if you have to get a book in that fiction area, and that shouldn't happen.
Yeah. And it's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a long time. I only noticed because I saw someone trying to find a book in the dark. I don't have to remember, we talked about the new railing, the Farmington Hills porch. I don't remember that. I don't.
Oh, they asked about possible replacement of that railing on the porch. However, that when we had the porch evaluated, it's part of the structure of the building. So we can't just replace that back receiving. I guess the good news is in this future phase, that will be going away for the addition, so it shouldn't be a problem. But Peter did replace that railing like 2 years ago or so, because it was like falling off. And part of it, the porch is kind of coming apart. But he's gonna have a masonry person come to take a look to see what patching they can do, just so it can.
Be better
Yeah.
functional. Also Sasha gave us a few updates, about the contract with McCarthy and a little bit of Real Point, which we talked to the gentleman tonight. And that pretty much covers all the topics that we did at the last meeting. But we're always open to new ones.
Can I just add something about the lights? So when we do the phase where they're taking down the beams, that's when he's gonna go and replace all the lights. The difficult thing with the lights is it requires him to get on our lift, which he can only get that out and run it when patrons aren't here. So he usually has to do that on like a Friday morning. He comes in early. But because it involves a ballast issue too, every time he goes to change the lights, it's not like at home where you unscrew, rescrew. It takes a while. So it's been a long process, and he's gradually been going through all those lights replacing. But the good news is when we'll be closed, he'll be able to spend literally a whole day just doing that.
That side of the building will be closed. And that is coming up soon in September.
Great.
September is soon.
It is soon. Thank you, Sharon. Kathy, finance.
Okay, so we had 2 meetings scheduled, but both were canceled because the person who was gonna do the presentation of things couldn't make it. So we're gonna schedule a meeting before the next September board meeting. So we'll be able to present that stuff then.
Wonderful. Thank you. We don't have any unfinished business, which takes us to new business. First up is our amendment for Real Point Services. I'll entertain a motion.
Move, we approve the amendment.
Great,
Second.
thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor of approving the amendment with Real Point, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It passes. Wonderful. Thank you, Real Point, for being here, answering all of our questions.
Sorry, Mr. Wayne.
I'll be in touch.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
And then next up are the building closures for 2027. You should have that in your packet, the proposed closures. Sasha, can I turn it over
Yes.
to you to talk through some of the changes?
I forgot to take my, I did not, I sent it as they proposed it, But we at the personnel committee felt Mother's Day and Father's Day are not days that we're going to be closed. I sent you the proposal for the President's Day that came along with this. The thinking, I think I sent it to you guys, didn't I? About the why. Yeah, it was in the board packet. It was in the board packet, the staff service day information of, the idea was if we closed President's Day, we would have like an in-staff service day where we could get stuff done that we can't do while the customers are here. That would be the only new addition to the proposed library closures than we have this year.
Is that,
Exact
isn't that something that we do the last half of Veterans Day with the staff day?
In years past, they have done that. This year, I think it's a full agenda of things to talk about. So we wouldn't, this is more of like, if we need to move an entire section and redo something, we would have a full day, because people think we're closed anyway, that we could close and get big clean outs and all the staff involved in. Staff day is more about retraining or training and learning new stuff that we're talking about.
So for at least the last, since I've been here, staff day on Veterans Day has always been a full day.
Yeah.
But the other thing that we would like to do on this day, that we talked about is running some emergency drills. And it's really difficult to do on staff day because those drills are pretty specific to the building, and if all the staff are here for training, we can't. So that's always been tough because staff want to do these drills, so then it's like, do you have everybody come in at like 8 o'clock in the morning on a Friday, 2 hours before we open? This just makes it super
Pay
convenient.
them overtime.
So we can do those things and, maybe run some drills and stuff, yeah.
Yeah. So
The rest of it's the same.
right. Nova had a weird closure, which I understand. They had some community activity outside of the library that day, so it was closed for traffic. And it just made me wonder, I know we can't anticipate, but do we think we're gonna have to be closed during construction for any day?
I believe after some conversations we had today with McCarthy and Smith, there's a possibility we may have to close this location for like a day when they're cutting that beam out, because if they're cutting concrete and right next to that where they're cutting is the desk, then
Safety.
and the noise,
Yeah.
the sheer
Yeah,
volume.
right.
And they're gonna put up sheeting luckily, but when they have to go through that, if it is a concrete beam, which we don't know until they come on site and cut some pieces out, that's gonna be loud. That's the only anticipated day or two, maybe, that we would have to close as far as we have anticipated right now.
Where exactly is the beam?
It goes from the children's stairwell. There's two straight across the new book shelving. There's two rectangle beams.
Okay,
It used to be the awning for the old building before the addition.
gotcha.
Yeah.
So what's happening with the books, the new books that are there?
We're moving them all. The shelving's being discarded and we're buying new shelving
So when is that occurring?
early September-ish.
Okay, and when are you moving the children's section?
Not until December. We think the children's collection is going to have to close December 1, and they'll be moved into the heritage room, so we can move all of the shelving down there out of the way, because that's on us. Well, library design, we're going to contract that out, but that's on us to arrange. So December 1, the downstairs area will be closed, so we can move all the books out of the way.
And when the beam is taken down, is there anything put up there no?
Because it's not structural.
Okay, and then how long is that supposed to take?
We don't know yet. We're
Okay.
supposed to find out. That's what we're still waiting for. We talked to them today and they said we should have a meeting in the next 2 weeks. It was anticipated anywhere from a few days, a week, or to 2 weeks. It just depends on what that beam is made of,
So
and
people can't get into the fiction.
That can measure it.
That's what we've been talking about.
that whole
That's-
left side will be blocked off during that time. That side is we already have plans to block it off, but if the noise, if it is like concrete or metal and the sound of them having to cut it, we may have a delayed opening or a closure for a day. It's just going to depend. When they come on site to talk to us, they're going to, I think, cut a section out of the beam or that the drywall to see what's in there.
And where are you moving the self-checks at that point?
We're just going to scoot them down, and we may end up with like another table somewhere over there to get them out of the way.
There's no concrete falling on them.
Nope, we're moving them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is on the final calendar or proposed calendar without Mother's Day and Father's.
Yes,
And then this maintenance day idea.
that would be President's Day,
Oh, I see, okay.
if that is. Approved.
So
So can you clarify, Sasha, what is the proposal on the table? I understand Mother's Day and Father's Day are not included.
What is
Are
list,
you suggesting President's Day be used for maintenance day?
Maintenance and emergency.
emergency training? If possible, I would like to. If not, then we will find other days to do those things.
Does it make sense for that to be? Well, I guess let me,
And if, I do know we had talked about getting some numbers that I haven't had a chance to get. So if you want to postpone this for a month, I'm happy to do that as well. Because we did talk about at the Personnel Committee trying to get some numbers about President's Day, like how many people come in, are other libraries closed that day? Some of that, and I'm happy to do that information if we want to wait and have a more informed decision.
Yeah, for my part, that would not inform my decision one way or the other. If this is a good day for the library staff, and people kind of know it's a, federal holiday and a bank holiday, it seems like a better day to choose than just some other random Monday.
well, no, I actually disagree with that.
Okay.
I wouldn't mind seeing the numbers because like we are intentionally open on Martin Luther King Day, Juneteenth. And I think maybe President's Day is not the same, but I think it might be an interesting day to stay open if the numbers support that.
That's a good point.
And because it is a federal holiday and people like kids are on school break that
That's a good
day.
point, yeah.
So the next Monday might make more sense rather than the actual holiday.
Right, we were talked about looking
Yeah.
at the numbers on picking a day that is real low.
Yeah,
Yeah, that
Yeah.
does make good sense.
Yeah.
yeah,
So if you want to, I don't want to,
Yeah,
but if
we're
you
not-
want to postpone this for a month, I'm happy to get that information for you guys and then get it to you ahead of time.
I just throw out there that, probably one of our low number of days is gonna be in the middle of February, and if we have to do a drill where we have to evacuate the building, that may not be the best.
Thanks, Jill. I was gonna also ask if this is meant to be a maintenance day. I know there's certainly things you can do inside, but would it be helpful to have some decent weather so you could do some, if there's anything that needs to be, people can go outside. So when I saw it on today's agenda, my understanding was maybe you had looked at
I hadn't had a
the
chance.
numbers, but can we move that to next time, once you've had some, and if you can send us
Yeah.
that ahead of time. then
Definitely.
That, but thank you for bringing this and thanks to WCDC for putting this on there. And I agree, Jim, I think Juneteenth, we've talked about this before, like Juneteenth, we have programming, and so it makes sense for us to stay open. And so I'm curious to see the numbers for President's Day of what that looks like in comparison. Okay, Jim, do we have any correspondence?
we don't.
No correspondence. And no public comment? Any trustee comment?
I'm just, you already said it better, Seth, but yeah, we didn't know what we didn't know, and I just hope it doesn't cost us too much to fix what we didn't know, and as we move forward here.
Yeah, I think we have to be ready that we don't know enough about the water.
Yeah, it was.
It just feels like we are being fiscally responsible, but responsible in other ways too. I was thinking about this as they talked, it's like we have so many talents around this room right now. And none of it, right, quite compares to that level of construction, understanding and architecture.
Well, yeah,
Yeah, and so I think we're being good stewards of funds and time and energy. Bringing on stuff. Thanks for saying that,
I
Chris.
still think you should give us a discount for different levels of money.
I still think, I thought your point was exactly well taken.
Well-
It was 20 million, you know, it's the same work if it's 20 million.
But it's not, because
It's-
why are you spending the extra? There is obviously more work if you're
Mhm.
spending 10 million more dollars, there's more work.
No, the price would go up if they wanted to, there was a comment
She
about.
was only saying
including-
instead of 2.5, maybe 2 on the.
I know what you're
But-
saying,
but-
we've had this conversation
Oh.
in facilities, but I don't know that we're ever gonna win the
There's
argument.
expenses to be reimbursed for us to the numbers. They didn't get any more work. They were just putting some more money back into our pot from the millage. See, that was one of the suggestions made.
Well, that's what I heard then, that's what I thought you were referring
Yeah.
to, that we weren't gonna spend the money, we were just gonna reimburse ourselves.
We reimburse ourselves like $3 million, but we didn't want to have to pay them 2.5%
Of
on
that.
money we just threw in to pay ourselves back.
Well, that would be it.
That's what I
That
heard you
kind of-
say,
Yeah,
yes.
that's what I heard.
I don't know if it's Romulus. Renee, you asked, have they been involved with libraries? I know for sure they were involved with Novi.
Hmm.
And I wanted to say.
They said
Romulus.
Royal Oak.
And Royal Oak as the
Okay. Royal Oak,
city, not
okay.
necessarily
Yeah,
just the
not
library, it was like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Royal
the
Oak
city
City,
itself.
yeah.
And the library though, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys have that in that packet they gave us
Yeah.
back
Yeah,
in May,
yeah,
the
they
whole,
did.
yeah,
Yeah.
all of their
Yes.
people that they.
Yeah,
work with.
yeah.
I mean, it's been interesting so far working with, it's been great working with Robert just the last few weeks, talking about the next phases and answering some questions and things that we didn't even think about. Like, just, he points out some great things, so it's been informative already.
Had to do tests on-
He's like, did you guys do were there boring tests done?
That's what I still don't wonder now, because you don't hear about Real Point or an owner representative being involved in all these other major construction projects, but
Dimensions happening behind. the
Yeah.
scenes,
yeah,
is
that's
that what you're
maybe,
gonna say?
yeah, that's what, yeah, yeah.
Maybe.
Well, I'm surprised that the first person on board was the architect, maybe would have suggested that to this naive group that, you know, who never did a construction project
Well,
before.
yeah,
I think they're different expertise. They bring a different set of expertise to the room. But I also wanna, if there's no other board comment, I'd love to adjourn this meeting.
oh, yeah.
Okay. But I do wanna continue the conversation.